Scouts over the
Training
summer,
camp.
training camp weather. I mean, is this just football weather for you?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Of course, the coaches love all this because it gets the players in shape in this kind of weather. My father, no matter what the weather was for a game, it could be hot and sweaty. It could be freezing cold. It could be raining. It could be snowing. And he'd always say, well, this is Redskins weather. Get the team all ready for whatever it was. The worst, though, was he when he was coaching in the USFL, he had the Arizona Wranglers.
Yeah.
And it was a spring league, and they had to play at night. It's so hot there in Phoenix, and they'd have misting and all of that. So Phoenix, 100 and something degrees is an oven. So it's tough, but the coaches love getting the players in shape for training camp. I would think there'd be long days on the campaign trails, and I'd say, gosh, these are like 3-a-day practices we had in college. I said, all right, it's a marathon each day. Just keep going. You just sweat through your pants and just keep going.
Just keep going. Well, you had a little bit of a training camp as well for the Young Americans Foundation, the Reagan Forum. You spoke with a bunch of interns up on the Hill.
Yeah, every year the Young Americans Foundation, I'm the Reagan Range Presidential Scholar and chair of the Reagan Range Board of Governors, and they have this annual forum. And Katie Pavlich moderated a panel with me and Congressman Chip Roy from Texas with well over 200 college interns from all over the country. There's one from just south of Tucson in Arizona and all over the country. And they wanted to talk about, what this is the 250th anniversary of our secession from the British monarchy and our Declaration of Independence, and link that to Reagan and pertinent challenges we face these days. And Rich, you think in history, Thomas Jefferson wrote the brilliant words in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal. What a revolutionary view, that we're endowed by our Creator with the rights of, unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then the other revolutionary idea that we could actually govern ourselves. We don't need somebody else.
Crazy Americans, right?
Well, I know this is revolutionary from the days of monarchies. Well, Thomas Jefferson wrote this bill of particulars of why we were wanted to leave the British monarchy and have our independence. But the British monarchy didn't just say, oh, God, those are really persuasive words. These United States, they ought to be able to secede and start their own country. No, they sent more ground troops in. They sent in Hessian mercenaries. They sent in all sorts of naval forces. And it took over 5 years of perseverance and fighting, fortunately garnering support from the French army and fortunately the French fleet to get trap Cornwallis at Yorktown and surrender in 1781. So that naval blockade mattered. That naval blockade still matters these days. Now, what do you learn from that? Yes, great words, but the only way you're going to get your peace is through strength. That's what persuaded the British. All right, we just got to give up. We cannot keep these. We can't subdue these colonists who want to create their own crazy idea of people having equal rights and governing themselves. Then you take to Reagan fighting the Soviet Union. He was the one who made famous the peace through strength statement or phrase. Ronald Reagan ultimately won the Cold War and the fall of the Soviet Union. However, we did have support from Margaret Thatcher and the British, Helmut Kohl in Germany, and the moral suasion of Pope John Paul the second. And the point is we're stronger with allies than without allies. Again, that applies in the world today as well. And it's really important for folks to understand that, yes, Ronald Reagan said tear down this wall, which it did come down without a shot being fired, but we had a strong military. Germany was key as far as positioning military equipment and armaments. Obviously, Margaret Thatcher is important, and Pope John Paul, being from Poland, which was behind the Iron Curtain,
in Lech Walesa,
was just, and Lech Walesa within. Yeah, that's the only union I've ever joined is the Solidarity Union. And so that reinforces the principles that if you have to have credible, principled leadership, stronger with allies, making sure that we're carrying on that torch of liberty, and for these young people to understand it. And so we talked about all that, and also the competition between the states, and how Texas and Florida and Tennessee and North Carolina, Arizona, those are top states for business. And where people are, and you've heard me say this, Rich, and some of your listeners, is that people are not trees. Unlike trees, people and businesses can and do move to places where they can pursue their own happiness, where they see that they can keep more of what they earn, where the cost of living or conducting business is less. And unfortunately, in Virginia, is going in the exact wrong direction, where our income taxes are comparatively much higher than every state to the south of us. And also, right to work laws, reasonable regulations.
Reggie, we have the regional greenhouse gas initiative. They just keep piling it on, going the wrong direction. Yesterday,
that Reggie actually came up. Reggie,
did it?
It comes out. It's regressive. Don't call these folks progressives or regressives. This regional greenhouse gas idiocy, tying Virginia to these loser high-cost northeastern states, adding 7 to 8% on everyone's monthly electric bill. Your power bill is going to go up 7 to 8% every month, have no effect on the weather. It's a tax. And this is on top of the taxes or surcharges or riders that of 10% or more for the offshore wind project, another 4 or 5% for renewable mandates, and another 4 or 5% for the Clean Economy Act. You're adding nearly 20% to people's power bills, and it's
a tax.
Regressive.
It's a tax.
It sure is. It's a tax. And they talk about affordability, and now they're talking about the Reggie idiocy. They're saying, we may need to put a rebate on, because this is going to hurt electricity users. And I'm thinking, well, why cause the harm in the first place if you don't?
And the bureaucracy.
Of course, and that's a carrying charge, the bureaucracy. But why create the problem that
wasn't there in the first place? If you don't have
the problem, you don't have to mitigate it. It's like running somebody over on the sidewalk and saying, "Oh gosh, we're going to have to pay for the broken leg." Well, just don't hit somebody in the first place, and then you don't have to worry about the medical bills.
Sir, I got about 90 seconds here, but I do want to touch on something with the Reagan scholar that you were in the Young Americans Foundation. I think I'm heavily involved with the service academies, and I've sat on those boards before nominating people. And my son's going back into the ROTC program for senior year, and he'll commission as a Marine Corps officer. Take just a couple seconds here. So many people in this country are so disappointed. They look around, they go, I just don't know where our country's going. When you get around those kids that are interns, those are some of the best of the brightest. I get around these kids at the service academies, ROTC, best and brightest. There's a bunch of great kids out there, future leaders. We just haven't heard about them yet because they didn't peak in high school.
Yeah, you're right. And in fact, they may be a minority, but anybody who's serving in armed services, and what you have to go through to go through the ranks, it's a meritocracy, just like in sports, in the military, and risking their lives to preserve these unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's only secured not by persuasion, it's by the willingness of generations and generations to preserve our liberties. And so you see anybody who's serving in any branch of the military, any young people serving in law enforcement, and these young interns, college-age students who are trying to learn more and they're involved in government. Passing the torch of liberty, you have more optimism looking in the eyes and the character of these young people. But we need more of them, and there needs to be more education. There needs to be more information. More people need to understand the difference between socialism and free enterprise and free markets and free people and personal responsibility rather than dependence on government. And so thank you, Rich, and thank you to your son and other young people serving in armed services, and again, also those who are firefighters and serving in law enforcement, that keeps us safe here at home.
Selfless service. Sir, thank you so much. I'll catch up with you.
See you on the trail ahead, Rich. Have a good, try to stay cool and watch a hockey game. That's the best sport to watch.
Thank you so much, sir. Governor George Allen joining us here on News Radio WRVA. Real quick, today's program is brought to you by A+ Windows. It's going to be hot this weekend. So are you going to be air conditioning the side yard or air conditioning your house? If you've got bad windows, drafty windows, faulty windows, old windows, you're just throwing money out the window when it gets to be this warm. Do yourself a favor. Find out more about windows, what you need to replace them, from Billy Kane at A+ Windows. He is your destination for education. He'll show you what the windows